Hey guys, in this video we're going to be going over the setup for a squat. So that's both setting up of the equipment and then setting up of your body when you are going to perform the squat. Let's start with the equipment. As you can see, you need a rack, a bar, and then these lovely things over here called safeties. Now, the safeties you want to be using when, pretty much whenever. Yeah? If you have a spotter, if you don't have a spotter, it is just a safety mechanism that is there just in case you do end up bombing in the squat. Where I would recommend you set it up would be probably just below the hip somewhere. Again, that depends on how deep you are going in your squats, but if you are going to a full range of movement, I would say just below the hip. When it comes to setting up the height of the bar, or the J hook that's going to be holding the bar, I would recommend, if you don't have a rack that's highly adjustable like this with all these different settings, and it is just a couple different settings that the rack has, set it one lower as opposed to one higher. The reason for this is because if you have to stand on your tippy toes to get the bar out in the first place, walk it back, do a set, naturally what happens is, one, you'll be getting tired. Two, as you start to get tired, your form will slip just a little bit and the bar will come down the back a little. Therefore, when you go to put the bar back, not only are you tired, the bar is going to be a little lower, meaning you have to get even higher to get the bar in. So rather just set it one lower, it just means that you have to get a little deeper in your setup. That's the only difference. Aside from that, if you do manage to have a more adjustable rack, something like this, maybe something with even more adjustable settings, what I would recommend you do is set the bar up at about the same height as your collarbone. Right, that's it for setting up the equipment. Now moving on to setting up the actual squat. The fundamental portion of the squat, oddly enough, is actually your grip. The grip is malleable. It depends on how long your arms are, as well as how mobile your shoulders are, or how healthy your shoulders feel. So you can really play with it. Typically, I would recommend you start off by finding the edge of the knurling where the bar goes from being rough to being smooth. Put the tip of your thumb there, extend out, grab the bar, do the same thing on the other side, then tighten up your shoulder blades and go under. Now the positioning of the bar on your back, a basic idea of how the spine is constructed. You've got vertebra disc, vertebra disc, vertebra disc the whole way down. You don't want to put a load perpendicularly on top of your spine. What will happen is that'll compress the vertebra and the discs until one of two things happens. Either the disc is going to rupture, and so you've got the sac that's full of fluid that then pops, and you've got vertebra rubbing on vertebra, so bone rubbing on bone, very uncomfortable. I would recommend avoiding that. The other thing that will likely happen if that doesn't happen is that the disc will slip in whichever direction it's prone to slip in. That has to do with your genetics and so on and so forth, but we won't speak about that here. Again, something you want to avoid because you won't be walking for a while if that happens. Yeah? So rather what we do is we offset the bar just a little. So instead of putting it right on top of the spine there, we just tighten up the shoulder blades, put it on the trap. Where on the trap has to do with whether you are squatting low bar or high bar, but we will cover that in a separate video. For now, just focus on the fact that you want to get it off the spine. So we set up our grip, tighten up our shoulder blades, go under the bar, stand, walk the bar back. From there, what you need to do is take note of how wide your hips are. So typically a personal trainer will say to you, oh, squat with your feet at shoulder width. That irritates me highly simply because your shoulders aren't what move in the squat. It's your hip that moves in the squat. So what you want to do is set your feet up just outside your hip. The reason why we say just outside is because that creates enough space for your body to drop into what we call the hole, which is the space between your legs. Now, you can mess with that setup a little bit and make it a little wider. Again, that has to do with how mobile your hips are. So really toy with that and the width of your grip. Aside from that, all you do is plant your feet just outside the hip, chest up, focus on sitting back, and all you do is drop down and stand. Nice and easy.